Vegetable oils are an important ingredients in this whole cooking and also an important source of dietary energy. A gram of fat would give about 9 kilocalories vis-a-vis just 4 calories from carbohydrate and protein of these three energy giving nutrients. A good quality fat, it is based on the kind of fatty acids they contain, like the oleic acid, omega-3 fatty acid, PUFA. You would always see this PUFA being mentioned on the oil packs. So these are all fatty acids. Like the proteins are made up of amino acid, fats are made up of fatty acid. These are individual units, links of a long chain. They are called fatty acids. So some of the fatty acids our body can't make. When we get from the oil sources, from the dietary sources, those fats which our body can't make, and those fats are called essential fatty acids. Very important to source them from outside the body, from the dietary sources. Most of the other fats the body can interconvert them. So that's the beauty of the biology. So a good quality fats are those which are rich in omega-3 fatty acids and essential fatty acids. Fat is when it is solid at room temperature, oil is when it is liquid at room temperature. Generally they are called lipids. So how do you know whether fat is good or bad? One is the fatty acid, other thing is how they are processed. For example, today this whole food story, we talk about farm to table story. Every link is important. They say chain is as strong as its weak links. If you process oil using hexane, which is a petroleum product, and boil at very high temperature to almost 260 degrees temperature, of course everything gets boiled off. The very structure of the oil also changes slightly. Normally people think that trans fatty acid present only in hydrogenated fat, but even the common oils, when they are boiled at a very high temperature, it does lead to small production of trans fatty acids. And then the petroleum solvent that is used to remove the oil has to be boiled off, but sometimes that also stays. So that is why the government of India, or also in the European Union, everywhere they say that the hexane, that is the petroleum in vegetable oil, should be less than 30 ppm. So, and all the goodness is boiled off. For example, many of these oils, the tropical oils, whether soybean, sunflower, groundnut, also contain very high amount of vitamin E. But when you boil at high temperature, vitamin E comes out, and that is sold by the oil industry to pharmaceutical companies. And all the antioxidants, unfortunately we call them as impurities, to be removed and sold to either to the feed industry or to the pharmaceutical industry. But as a matter of fact, if the oil can retain all the antioxidants, all the other phytochemicals, for example, rice bran oil has got about 4-5% of oryzanol. It's an antioxidant. Every oil has its own antioxidant profile. Every oil is packed in nature in such a way, the higher the long chain fatty acid, higher the vitamin E associated with it. So that's the way the nature packs it, so that it should not be spoiled or turned rancid quickly. But what we do in the industry is that, industry, mega scale industry, they just boil off everything and then add synthetic antioxidant to have a long shelf life. But that's not the way to have a long shelf life with chemical additives. A good vegetable oil should be processed with low temperature. That is what is known as cold pressed oil. Low temperature with just mechanical way of removing the oil. Ancient type of technology, modernized to a large extent today. Ancient way of extracting oil was through Ghana. Kachi Ghani kind of thing, where the bull would take the turn and then physically crush and remove the oil. But that has been improved a lot these days. Without increasing the temperature, you can remove the oil without removing the antioxidants and the phytochemicals. They all can be retained and the oil can be really then healthy.